Hi, it's Wendy. Let's paint some butterflies. Here is all the supplies that you'll need and a little bit of butterfly inspiration. Let's go have some fun. Hello. Today we're going to learn how to draw and paint butterflies. Go ahead and take a screenshot of what you're looking at so then you can print these out and use them as a template. So first thing we're going to do is I'm taking the ruler, okay, make sure your paper's all lined up. I'm taking the ruler and I'm going to the top of this butterfly's head, all right? And it's nice that the ruler's see-through, right? So I'm just gonna draw a line where the top of the head is. And I'm gonna go down and draw a line where the tail ends. That gives me the proportions. So I can kind of start there, and I can also drop a plumb line down the center of this one. Since this is, half and half, if you just draw a center line, everything can come off that center line. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I'll try to work a little bit darker over here. So there's the plumb line, here's the top, here's the bottom. And then I'm just going to draw a circle for the head, and I'm going to draw sort of a, what do you want to call that? Like a petal shape for the body, right? And then for the lower part of the body, I'm drawing kind of an elongated petal shape, kind of like if you were going to make the petal shape for a daisy or something. And so that gives you your shape right off the bat. Now you just go off of there. So we can see this wing kind of puffs up, comes around, and goes back in. It's kind of the shape of a tortilla chip, right? Just with a little bit of rounded edges. So just try to keep these things really simple. So you can see it's coming about 1/4 inch down to the body. So I can put a little dot there if I want to. Same on the other side. That's where the wings will start. And then where do they end? About maybe 1/4 inches down. So if you need to do those little dots, you can do that. And then we're just gonna kind of balloon out and make that sort of tortilla chip shape and come back in. Now when I do this, when I actually sketched these up, I did take a lot of time. So you take the time to get the shape you like. I'm just kind of showing you the basic way that you can do this. So there's your two sort of tortilla chip shaped wings, right? And let's do the bottom wings. So we're looking over here, and it's a sort of a narrow, it's a narrow tortilla chip. So kind of go down and bring it back up, right? Same thing on the other side. Go down and bring it back up. Okay? And then at this point, I'm gonna start like erasing my plumb lines. Don't need them anymore. Let's get rid of them. And then we can just do the antennas, and they just kind of go up and conk over, up, bend over, little balls on the ends, or any antennas that you'd like to do. So then you're seeing this inside edge, right? Well, I just kind of followed the line and just kind of did like little pointy scallops, right? Kind of come up, little pointy scallops like that, and then circles. Anywhere you want to put them. Same thing on the bottom, little scallops and circles. And that's it. This one down here, a little bit harder because this butterfly angles. So what I would do is I would start with an angled line. Okay, and I'm making that darker than I normally would. That's the line I'm going to draw the butterfly on. And so I'm going to go up here and do a little head. I'm going to do a little puffy shape for its body, almost like a teardrop. And then I'm going to take another, like a longer petal shape that's kind of got a point on the end, just making it a different shape than the one above it. And then I can start erasing my plumb line. Don't need it anymore. Get it out of there. So there you go. Okay. And then the wings. I'm gonna actually go over here like this. Wings are a little bit more challenging when you're doing it like this. What you might want to do is you might actually want to measure how far the wing goes up and how far the wing goes down. And you can just kind of draw a line across. That gives you a place to stop at. And I use the body to measure. I can see that this wing starts about right there and it ends just about right there. So I'm going to go straight up and over, make a little point, and come back down. Again, it's almost like drawing another petal shape. Like that. And then the big back wing, it starts right next to it and ends down there. So you just go out, again, balloon out, and come back. I can see my wings are a little bit off, but that's all right, I don't mind. And then the bottom wing starts touching this second wing it touches. So it's going to kind of come down, and then there's that line I drew, and kind of come to a point, and then come back up. And if your wings look too stiff, just play with your lines so they're not so stiff. And then the fourth wing. It's going to come sort of out of the middle of the body, loop down, another sort of flower petal shape, right? And then here all I did was kind of just trace the edge, and I kind of did a squiggly line to come back in. I kind of made it a little bit looser and messier, not so perfect. And then you can add any designs you want. Antennas go up, and I actually put a little heart on this one just for the fun of it. And I put legs on this one, so you're going to come from the middle of the body out, and then you'll come from the edge out. See how I did that? Middle out, and then from the edge out. Same thing here, middle out, from the edge out. And then let's do this last one. So you can drop your plumb line, draw your head, draw your body, draw the lower body, and sweep the wing up, bring it back in, and then, you know, reshape that. You can work on kind of reshaping them to get what you like. You can erase your plumb lines as soon as you've got your body drawn. And then you see how this bottom wing touches the upper wing. That's kind of how it looks so good. And then and then it comes back in. You can tell right away if you need to make your wings look better. And same thing over here, it kind of goes out to a point, bring it back in. Okay, I kind of like this little angle down here at the base of this butterfly. I don't know why, I just think it makes it look kind of neat. So you can kind of just angle it down, almost like it's a chiseled edge, right? And then you can draw your little eyes, two little circles, antenna going out with a circle. And this squiggly antenna, you actually got to start at the top and do like 2 loop-de-loops to come down. So you start at the top and go loop, loop, and then bring it into the head, like that. So that's how you draw the butterflies. I know that was fast. Now I've got all these butterflies to paint. So I'm going to take a little break, get my colors all together, and then we'll get back together and I will paint it up for you. I am back. So all my colors are ready, and I have my color palette that I've already chosen for each one of my butterflies. And so I'm just going to set my color palette right over here so you can see that. So we're just getting it all wet. So now I've got the orange on my brush, and this color here is the quinacridone sienna mixed with a little bit of just regular orange, like a cadmium orange medium. So I'm going to lay that down, and then I'm going to add a little bit more water in here and just sort of blend it around. I like the look that the water gives. It kind of gives it a mottled look. And so let's move to the next one. And monarchs are pretty bright, so you can go for a pretty bright orange here. And I actually like to leave some of these little white spaces that you're seeing. I actually like to leave some spaces white. So let's go over to this other side. The wing is still wet. Thankfully I'm working fast enough. And we'll lay that orange down over here. Really not too fancy, right? I like it. I'm actually going to drop a little bit of yellow, just kind of some little yellow droplets in there because I think they make the color look brighter. So the orange goes down first, then do some little drops of yellow. I'm just dropping it in. Kind of brightens up the wing. And that's all I'm going to do for that one. I'm going to let that dry. Let's move down to the next one. And this one, so there's the monarch that I'm using for inspiration on that first one. The second one, I'm using this orange sulfur. So this one is going to be mostly yellow. And I am going to actually paint over the dots on this one because my dots are going to be darker than the yellow. So laying down the water, working wet on wet. There we go. And let's go into that yellow. And you can see, do you see how when I just laid it down, watch what happens when I bring it to this bottom wing. See how it just the water pulls the yellow. Do you see that? It's so fun. Yellow is just one of those colors that the water just really has a lot of fun with. Such a happy color. So the water kind of does most of the work for you. So you lay it along the edge and let the water pull it in and then just tease it towards the center. And you can see these white spaces in here in this wing. I'm actually going to leave those. I kind of like it. I think it almost gives it a little bit of dimension. So that's all I'm going to do for that one. Actually, I think what I might do is drop just a little bit of orange in here close to the body. And I'm not doing a lot, so I just rinsed my brush off. After I did little teeny drops, I have a clean, dry brush. And I'm just going to kind of tease it. Oops, maybe it shouldn't have been that dry. Okay, so now I'm just going to kind of tease it back in. I'm kind of pushing it up towards the yellow. See that? That's all I'm going to do there. I like it. And then we're going to let this dry, and then the bottom one, I'm going to move back over here to this Pipevine Swallowtail. and we're going to do this blue color. What I'm using here is I'm using a turquoise. And I think it's just a student grade, like a Gumbacher Academy turquoise. If you hear noise in the background, that would be my yellow lab. Do you hear her? She's groaning. She's sleeping and groaning in her sleep. And you know how when your dogs take a nap, they kind of do this thing where they woof in their sleep. They kind of make a woofing noise. She does that too. It's really cute. All right, so let's see, getting these wings all laid down in blue, or in water first, getting them all wet. And I'm gonna start at the, right next to the body and just bring it up. And around the edges. And I'm gonna bring it around the edges here too. I'm doing the edges first before I draw it into the center, because blues tend to really run. Just like with the yellow, they kind of just can get away from you, and it's such a dark color. So I wanted to see what it looked like before I started, bringing it in. I'm not sure I want the wings to be super dark. So let's see, I'm just going to add a little bit more blue in here. Okay, and now I have just water on my brush. Now I'm just going to kind of blend. And leave some of these white spaces. Again, I just have water on my brush. I'm pulling the paint and I'm pushing it, pulling it and pushing it. Just water. I think leaving white spaces, or some, it's almost like your wing has a chance to breathe if you leave a little bit of white in there. See that? Just blending it. And then you have a chance to reshape your edges if you want to here. And then something I want to do down here, because this is my interpretation, is I really want to add in some like a lavender. So what I'm going to do is dip into a little bit of opera pink, and let's see, I'm going to just kind of dot it around the tips of these upper wings. Oh, that's pretty. Kind of just tinge the tip. It's not really what the swallowtail looks like, but I like it. I think it's very pretty. A little bit more, a little bit darker. That's pretty dark, right? So I'm gonna go in now with a clean brush, tiny bit of water, and I'm gonna blend it in. And it'll blend into that blue and give it that beautiful lavender color. So you can see the difference between this side and this side already. So I just have a little bit of water on my brush and I'm blending it. I think that's pretty. You might add a little bit more. You kind of do these things in layers, seeing what you might need. I'm gonna just do a little bit more of this blue turquoise close to the body. And I'm just dropping a little bit of it in. kind of darkening. That's pretty. So you can see how it's darker towards the center, and then it sort of fades out to a lighter color, which gives the butterfly some dimension. So now what I need to do is let all of these dry, and then I can come back and do the next steps. All right, all my butterflies are dry. So I'm going to go do the second step, which is to add in the bodies and the edges of these wings. So I'm going to go into, I'm using lamp black, and I'm not wetting the edges first. I'm just going to kind of go trace it. And you kind of do got to be a little careful on this part here. All right, so that's kind of like one layer. And I can tell I need to go a little bit darker. So I'm going to go do this for all of the edges of the monarch. So I'm not going to, I'll finish it and then I'll show you it finished, but I'm just going to show you that's just how I did that. Now let's do the body. And for the body, I am actually going to wet it a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit. And again, I'm going into that lamp black. And I'm just sort of tracing the shape, because I do like to leave a little bit of white in the body as well. I think it kind of, again, gives it sort of dimension. And then we'll do the head. And I'm just kind of going down one side here. And then gently tracing the outside. Like that. And that's kind of how you do it. So you can see I wetted it, went around the edges, tried to leave some white in the middle. That's really the key to getting dimension in your watercolor, is being really aware of where the light is, where you want the light to hit, and then leaving space for the light. So let's go down here to this orange sulfur one, and there's black again around the wings too, and the tail on this one is a little bit lighter. So again, I think I'm just going to do that the same way I did this, and I might hit it with some white paint pen to kind of bring out that. So I'm going to do the tips of the wings, and we'll just do this big one. I didn't wet it first. I'm just going on dry, and I'm being very careful. It's interesting, you would think that a color that says lamp black would be a lot darker. It's going on gray. So I'm going to have to do a couple coats. So I got a little bit more black. And this dries pretty quick when you just do dry on dry without it being wet first. So here's the second layer of black, and you can see how much darker that's going down. You do got to be careful with the black, because if you mess up, it's really hard to get it off the paper. That's why I'm working so slow, and it's like my brain stops. It's hard to talk and paint at the same time when I'm concentrating. All right, So I would do all of the tips of this the same way. And now I'm going to go do the body. Just like that. And I'm going to leave that like that. And then we'll go down and do the very last one, which is the pipevine swallowtail. Right. So what I'm going to do now is go and finish all the detail work. And then after I do that, I will join you at the very end and I'll show you how to lay down the ink pen to finish it off. So the very last part of the butterflies is finishing them off with ink pen and Posca paint pens, as well as maybe a little bit of colored pencil. And so what I did was I added a little bit of colored pencil into the butterfly. I did some orange and some yellow. Down here I added a little bit of orange, and down to this one I added a little bit of blue, close into the body to give it a little bit of shading and a tiny bit of texture. And I actually also hit these edges, these black edges, with just a little bit of black colored pencil to give it some texture, which I can see from my perspective. Kind of makes it a little bit fuzzy looking, which I kind of like. And then the next thing I did was I put on the white paint pen. And so this half of the monarch is done, and I'll show you how I did that. So I just put the paint pen in the white spots, like that. And then I used it around the edges as well. And so I just kind of dotted it. Kind of making bigger circles close to the edge and then filling in around the edges like that. Pretty. Oh, there's some white down here as well. And let's see. You know, I was looking at the monarch and kind of seeing these white spots, and I was just trying to put them where I saw them. You know, again, this is my interpretation. Now it's working great. Okay. And then, you know, you can do a second coat if you want to make those a little bit whiter. It's just like paint, right? So then you can see on the monarch, I added a couple little dots for eyes, and I did three little dots down the body because I could see that right there. Thought it was kind of cool. And then there's some lines on the tail. So I just added them sort of like that, which is fun. And then let's see, anything on any of the other ones? Actually did sort of wanted to add a little bit on this blue one. I wanted to add a little bit in there too, just to kind of punch it up. And then let's add eyes to this middle one, or one eye, because it's a side view. Put it right like that. Okay. This one down here already has eyes. I did 2 eyes and a nose with the white. And that's fun. All right. Next thing I did was I went in with my pens, and I really like using this Pilot P700 Fine, and I also like to use the Micron 5mm, both of these pens. This one's more felt pen, and this one is more of a rollerball ink. They both have their advantages. This gives me a thinner line, the Pilot does, so it's really nice to do it when I'm working in here with the butterfly on the veins. And this one's nice if I want to have a little thicker, more filled in line. So I go kind of back and forth between the two of these pens. So let's finish the monarch. And I'm going to go do the antenna. It goes up and over. And I'm using the Pilot because it's nice and thin. I'm going to circle the white that I filled in. Like that. And now I'm going to draw the veins. And so again, I was looking at the veining on the monarch and just kind of copying that. And I'm not pressing very heavy. And then you can also make it up as you go along. Which I often do. Make up how I want it to look. And that's pretty much it. I'd say that guy's done. Let's go to this guy right here. Let's finish the antenna. So bring it up. And then this one I was just being silly and put a heart, because I can. And then the legs comes from the off the body and down for the back arm. And then this one I'm drawing on the body over and down. And again for the back leg over and down. And this one's actually on the body coming over and down. You might not be able to see that, but you can see it up close. And then something else I wanted to do was finish the outer edge of this wing for you. So I've got to turn it sideways to get the right angle. And I'm just going to kind of take my pen and make my lines a little bit crisper. And I'm going to bring, see how there's no line right there where I'm pointing? I'm going to bring a nice thin line and join it into my black paint. Just like that. And that's what I did for all of these. I used this thin line that's joining into the body. It's all done with the ink, not with the brush, because that would be like crazy. Some people can do that. I don't have the concentration for that. It was hard enough for me to do all of these wings with the black paint and the brush. And what I'm doing is just kind of creating a little pointy tip at the wings, which you can't get with a brush. Well, I can't get it with a brush, but I can do it with the pen. So any lines you want to correct, you can just go in there with your pen. So that was that. And let's do the black lines on this bottom one so you can see. So again, this side is, the left side is done, the right side is not. So I'm just going to come and join that up. Circle my dots. And let's see, turn the paper a little bit. Do the bottom one. And then we got to do this antenna on this side. And so I was going to show you, you start at the top to do a loop-de-loop. So you can see how this one is over here. Start at the top and go down and loop and bring it into the head. And then draw a little ball in the end like that. Totally adorable. And then if I want to sharpen its tail, I can just use my pen to clean up any of my edges. I actually added 2 little feelers on the top of all of their heads. Do you see that? Because I noticed that they have them. See that? And antennas. So, you know, it's not an anatomically correct butterfly, but you can add in little details when you see them. Gold Posca pen, and I dotted a bunch of gold dots on this side. So I'm just going to do the same thing over here. It just adds a little bit of shimmer, like that. I think it looks really pretty. And then I used, actually, you know what? I think I used bronze on this one. Wasn't supposed to be gold. We'll redo it. Okay, this one I used bronze. This one I used the gold on. And all I did was just kind of dot a few in the wing, just because I thought it was pretty, like that. So on the bottom one, I added the pink. And I just dotted up the side of the butterfly to the tip. And then around to the side. That is pretty much it. Well, I'd say that this one is finished. I had a lot of fun doing this. I hope you did too. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for watching. Hi, this is Wendy Nolan. I really hope that you enjoy my video, and I thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.